Nicole, 10 on your side was here as that Navy helicopter brought the pilot here for treatment. As we now know, that pilot is in critical condition. When 10 on your side was here, when the Navy helicopter brought the pilot in, he was lying on a stretcher, covered in a blanket. At that time, he appeared to be communicating with the rescue crews and also very alert. The Navy helicopter came in just after 3:30 this afternoon and brought him to Centera Norfolk General Hospital for treatment. And as Stephanie mentioned, the pilot was able to eject from the F-18 before it crashed. We're also told that the pilot was rescued by a commercial fishing vessel, and at that time the pilot was conscious. So at that time we were thinking that that meant some good news, but now we know that the pilot is in critical condition here at Centera Norfolk General Hospital. He is continuing to receive treatment. We will continue to bring you updates on this developing story, and we'll have more on WAVY News 10 at 11. Reporting live in Norfolk, Lauren Compton, 10 on your side.
And now 10 on your side, military reporter Art Kahn is somewhat of an expert with these types of jets.
During WAVY News 10 at 5, we talked with Art about how the pilot was quickly rescued. We're having some trouble with that interview there, but here are some specifics about this attack fighter. The FA-18E Super Hornet is a single-seat plane. It belongs to VFA 143 at Naval Air Station Oceana. It's part of Carrier Air Wing 7, assigned to the USS Eisenhower. The fighter jet's been part of the Navy's fleet for 35 years and has logged more than 8 million flight hours.
And this is the second time we've seen a Super Hornet crash in Hampton Roads in recent years. Who can forget this? In 2012, an FA-18D, which has 2 seats, slammed into the Mayfair Mews apartments in Virginia Beach right after takeoff from Oceana. They called this the Good Friday miracle. Not hard to see why, because no one was hurt. Both pilots were able to eject before that crash.
Now, we've been telling you before the Super Hornet went down, the pilot was able to eject into the frigid waters of the Atlantic Ocean.
Our team coverage continues now at 10 on your sides. Ann McNamara. And Ann, you've been looking into these emergency procedures.
Yes, and I reported extensively at Mayfair Mews for the Good Friday miracle, and I remember while we were there, you could actually see the ejection seat from one of those pilots. It got caught in a tree. Let's take a look at some of that video from Mayfair Mews. This is a picture of the ejection seat that was found in that tree that day. What happens is when you eject, you don't just go into the air. A parachute is supposed to deploy and kind of make the landing softer. Well, in the Mayfair Mews example, one of the pilots did not deploy in time, so instead it got caught in a tree. The parachute was not full and did not break the landing. Now, what we're hearing in this is that the pilot was actually in the water. We can only assume that means that possibly his parachute did work effectively. However, they have to act fast, and you saw the urgency in the faces of those people at the hospital as they were rushing that patient in. They were urgent. Now that we got this call around 3:11 this afternoon, and just shortly after 3:30, that helicopter was on the landing pad at Centera Norfolk. So about 20-30 minutes maybe to get them from 45 miles east off Virginia Beach all the way back to Norfolk. And one last note, pilots do wear dry suits depending, of course, on the conditions. We can assume today with cold water and colder air that they were wearing dry suits. These dry suits have a layer. It's a thermal layer supposed to keep you warmer in the water for longer, although as we well know from recent accidents that it's not a foolproof plan. It cannot keep you warm in conditions like this. So a lot to deal with, a lot goes into the preparedness of this, and they do the best they can. You saw the urgency on those faces, guys.
All right, Ann. Well, it doesn't appear the weather had anything to do with today's crash.
But for the second time in 1 week, crews had to conduct a rescue mission in the cold Atlantic Ocean.